But we start at Wembley, where Real Madrid have won the Champions League for a record 15th time by beating Borussia Dortmund.
15. That's how many times Real Madrid have lifted the UEFA Champions League trophy, more than any other club in history, by a massive margin. No other team even comes close. AC Milan, 7, Bayern Munich, 6, Barcelona, 5, and Real Madrid, 15.
Because this Real Madrid team will not win the Champions League. Absolutely no chance of winning the Champions League.
But here's the question everyone keeps asking: how do they keep doing it? How does one club, decade after decade, tournament after tournament, always find a way to perform when it matters most in Europe? Today, we're breaking it all down. The history, the tactics, the mentality, and that intangible quality that makes Real Madrid unlike any other club on the planet. Let's get into it. To understand why Real Madrid succeeds in Europe today, you have to understand where this all started. It was 1956, the inaugural European Cup. Real Madrid won it, and then won it again, and again, and again. 5 consecutive European Cups in the club's first 5 attempts. Di Stefano, Puskas, Gento, these weren't just great players. They were building a blueprint, a culture, an identity. Fast forward through the decades, and the culture never died. Managers like Miguel Muñoz, Vicente Del Bosque, Zinedine Zidane, they all inherited and then reinforced the same core belief: winning in Europe is not an ambition at Real Madrid. It's an expectation. 3 consecutive Champions Leagues between 2016 and 2018 under Zidane. The first club to ever do that in the modern era. These aren't flukes. This is a club that has built its entire DNA around European success. And that legacy, it doesn't just live in trophies. It lives in the players, the fans, the staff. Everyone connected to this club carries that weight and that expectation into every European night. One of Real Madrid's greatest strengths, and one that often gets overlooked, is their tactical flexibility. They don't have one rigid system they force onto every game. Against a deep-sitting defensive team, they'll use wide players to stretch the shape and pull defenders out of position. Against a high-pressing side, they'll use their quality on the ball to bypass the press and punish on the counter. Under Carlo Ancelotti, you've seen Real Madrid shift between a 4-3-3, a 4-4-2 diamond, and now, this is where things get truly special. Ask any football fan about Real Madrid in Europe, and they'll immediately bring up the comebacks, the revivals, the seemingly impossible turnarounds. Down to Manchester City in 2022. Comeback! Trailing Paris Saint-Germain in the last 16. Comeback! Behind Chelsea in the semi-final. You already know what happened. This isn't luck. This is a mentality that has been forged over decades. Players at Real Madrid genuinely believe, in their core, that the game is never over until the final whistle. That belief? It creates pressure on opponents that very few teams can withstand. Real Madrid's ability to attract the best players in the world is unmatched. When you win 15 Champions Leagues, when your stadium is the Bernabeu, when your white jersey is the most iconic in football, the best players want to come. And it's not just one generation. Ronaldo, Benzema, Vinicius Jr., Bellingham, Kroos, Luka Modric. Each era brings in a new batch of elite talent that fits seamlessly into the club's system. But here's what's even more important: depth. Real Madrid can lose a key player to injury and still compete at the highest level because their bench would be the starting 11 at most other clubs. Experience in European football is currency, and Real Madrid are the richest club in the world in that currency. Players like Luka Modric and Toni Kroos, they've played in so many Champions League knockout games that the pressure simply doesn't register the same way it does for others. They've seen every scenario. They know what to do when the stakes are at their highest. This experience trickles down through the squad, through the coaching staff, through the entire structure of the club. At Real Madrid, playing in a Champions League final isn't a dream. It's an expectation they've navigated before. And we cannot talk about Real Madrid's European success without mentioning the Bernabeu, renovated, modernized, and now one of the most intimidating venues in world football. On a European night, with 80,000 fans in full voice, the atmosphere at the Bernabeu is something opponents genuinely fear. Teams have visibly wilted under that pressure. It becomes almost like an extra player for Real Madrid. So we've talked about tactics, talent, history, atmosphere, but there's something more, something harder to quantify. Call it DNA, call it culture, call it mystique. Whatever you name it, Real Madrid have something that very few, if any, clubs in history have possessed. It's the ability to raise their level precisely when the moment demands it most. When other teams freeze under pressure, Real Madrid accelerates. When other teams play safe, Real Madrid attacks. When other teams panic, Real Madrid stays composed. A huge part of this comes from the club's relationship with adversity. Real Madrid have faced eliminations, humiliations, bad seasons, and every single time they've rebuilt, come back stronger, and returned to the top. That resilience is baked into the club's identity. There's also a psychological dimension. Opponents know what Real Madrid are capable of. They've seen the comebacks. They've watched the replays. And that history, that fear, creates hesitation in opponents at the exact moments when they should be pressing the advantage. Real Madrid win battles in the mind before a single ball is kicked. Call it luck, call it fate, call it the Madridismo spirit, but the numbers don't lie. In the biggest moments of the biggest competitions, Real Madrid perform. And they've been doing it for nearly 70 years, so let's bring it all together. Real Madrid's dominance in European football isn't an accident. It isn't just money. It isn't just luck. It is the product of 7 decades of carefully cultivated culture, relentless pursuit of excellence, and a mentality that is genuinely unlike anything else in football. It's the history that creates expectation. The expectation that attracts talent. The talent that delivers trophies. And those trophies that reinforce the history. It's a cycle. A self-sustaining machine of European dominance. The tactical flexibility means they can beat anyone. The squad depth means they can sustain it. The experience means they don't buckle under pressure. The Bernabeu means home games are an event in themselves. And the DNA, that intangible, irrepressible, infuriating to everyone else Real Madrid DNA, ties it all together. So the next time someone asks you why Real Madrid always seem to come through in Europe, you can give them the full answer. It's everything, all at once, working together in perfect, and sometimes magical happen. But now I want to hear from you. What do you think is the single biggest factor in Real Madrid's European success? Is it the mentality, the talent, the history, the Bernabeu? Drop your answer in the comments below. I read every single one. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel grow and tells me you want more content like this. And if you're new here and you love deep dive football analysis, tactics, and history just like this, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a video.